G'day guys, how are you? BJ Lyons here from 618 Coaching once again, and today we're going to be going through a little bit of basic thoracic spine active mobility. Just quickly, the difference between active and passive mobility. Passive would be where someone can grab your arm and say, pull it all the way back to here. Active mobility is where the individual can actively move that joint and range that joint through that range of motion. Okay, so these drills that we're going to be going through here are active drills to use your musculature to start increasing your range of motion and getting more function out of your joints. All right, stay tuned and let's go. Okay, so we have a few drills here. The very first one we're going to get into is what's known as a T-spine opener. Before we go any further, I've got to shout out some credit to my current coach, Will Crozier. He got me onto all of these to start getting my thoracic spine a bit more mobile through rotation and extension when I was having some issues when I came on to coaching with him. All right, so this is a bit of a hand-me-down. Credit where credit's due. Go check out the Nexus guys, and thank you very much for the help you've given me so far. All right, so for this thoracic spine opener, we are going to lie down on the floor on our side. We can see in the video that we have the foam roller between our feet and knees. This is to keep our legs on the ground so we can't rotate, so we can't lift our hips off the ground and get our rotation through the lumbar and thoracic spine instead of the hips moving. The first portion of this drill, we're just going to reach on over, opening that T-spine around to the ground. I like to do this for 5 to 10 reps. Once that starts to get a little bit easier, we'll move on to the second portion of this drill, where it's more of a sliding rotation, where we drag our hand along the ground around our head. The main keys that we want to focus on in both of these drills, the basic T-spine opener, where we're just rotating back and forwards. Try to lead with the shoulders. We're trying to rotate the shoulders here and get movement through the spine and not so much the arms themselves. So we can reach with our fingers to touch the ground behind us, but what we're trying to really do is bring that shoulder over and get that to the ground. With the rotational drill where we go overhead, you'll notice the way I do it is the first point of contact I'm trying to get it with my body to the opposite side of my body is the shoulder to the floor. So I'm starting that scoop around the head, but I'm really thinking about getting my shoulder blade down onto the floor and then dragging my hand around on the floor as well for that stretch. This is pretty important because, again, we're looking for rotation through the thoracic spine and a little bit of movement through the shoulder blades and scapula. If we're just using the elbow to get flexion, we're not really working on those drills. All right, the second one here, we're going to lie flat on our bellies. We're going to reach both arms up overhead, and we're going to try to press our armpits into the floor. Once we've got that position, we're going to try to rotate through the thoracic spine, trying to drag the shoulder blade over to the ground on the opposite side. It's very important here that we don't let the hips come off the ground. If the hips twist, we're just rotating the body, not rotating the spine. Also, use this position, as said at the start, to push the opposite shoulder blade into the floor as we're doing this. That will help us not cheat movement through the other arm, and it'll also give us a really nice stretch through our lats, tricep insertions, and we're really killing two birds with one stone that way. You may find when you start this drill, there's not a lot of movement there. You have to remember at the time of recording these videos, I've been doing them pretty consistently 2 to 4 times a week, probably for 2 to 3 months. Also on this last video, you will notice I have a lot less range of motion on my left side because when I was filming these videos, I was rehabbing a clavicle scapular injury from a heavy deadlift on a comp that was a few weeks beforehand. So these last final drills, again, just about getting the subscapular moving now. So we're going to lie face down with our arms stretched out, really reach tall with your arms as well. And then we're just trying to raise the hand, the arm as far away from the ground as we can directly up. You can see here the range of motion isn't too bad through my right side. As we go over to the left, you're going to notice it's probably about half there. As I said, that's rehabbing that injury, which all these drills really did help for. Finally, the last drill is going to be a little bit more of activation through those upper traps and rhomboids. Also some subscapular work. We're just going to stay in this position. We're going to keep our forehead down on the ground. Make sure our beard's out of the way, very important. We are going to interlock our fingers behind our head. And then we're just going to try to raise our elbows as far off the ground as we can without arching our chest up excessively or anything like that. We just want to be working subscapular here, not so much thoracic extension. Okay, so as I said, these are all fairly basic drills, but they work very well if you have no mobility through extension or rotation through the thoracic spine to build that up without it being too hard. You can get through these in 3 minutes before your training session. You can do them outside of your training session. They're never going to hurt. And yeah, like I said, give it a go 3 to 5 times a week if you're really struggling. Just before you train every time a week, we'll get you along very quickly. Hopefully you'll find these give you a little bit of movement there in a few weeks. And then after that, we'll come back and we'll work on some more suggestions for those mobility drills. Thank you very much for your times, guys. I hope this has helped. Peace, and I'll see you on the other side.